A funeral service will be held Saturday for Detroit clergyman Charles Nix. Visitation was held tonight at the Northwest Swanson Chapel. The Reverend Nix, an award-winning gospel musician and pastor of St. James Missionary Baptist Church, died last week. He is remembered by friends and family as a man who loved everything and everybody.
Nona Barbie. Also tonight, thousands of Detroiters pay final respects to the Reverend Charles Nix Jr. We'll have the Reverend Charles Nix, a powerful preacher and joyful gospel singer, were held in Detroit today, and thousands came to say goodbye. Nix touched just about everyone who goes to church in Detroit with his music, and they came to the Greater Grace Temple on Schaefer at 7 Mile today to sing and clap their hands and remember.
He's music to our souls, and I'm just going to keep that music playing in my soul. I think about him daily. I hear his voice, and like the late, great Reverend C.L. Franklin, thank God for recordings. Yes. And we can still hear that voice and still enjoy the inspiration.
We've cried all the week. We've cried for weeks. We've cried for months. As a matter of fact, I cried all last week. So now we're ready to celebrate.
An extraordinary human being. I was just inside the church. I can't imagine anything more moving or in its own way joyous. And it's an occasion to celebrate a man's life.
Renowned for his gospel music, he sometimes left the pulpit to play the organ. The Reverend Nix was remembered today with flowers and tears and respect from many of the city's pastors. The Reverend Charles Nix, dead at age 47. Final services for the Reverend Charles Nix, a powerful preacher and joyful gospel singer, were held in Detroit today, and thousands came to say goodbye. Renowned for his gospel music, he sometimes left the pulpit to play the organ. The Reverend Nix was remembered today with flowers and tears and respect from many of the city's pastors. The Reverend Charles Nix, dead at age 47.
They wanted to watch the procession. We'll go on Woodward and then west on 7 Mile.
Yes, up Woodward, west on 7, up Grand River to Beach Daly, and then north on Beach Daly to Holy Sepulchre Cemetery.
Okay, thank you, Jim. And Detroiters gathered to pay their last respects to one of the city's gospel music favorites. The Reverend Charles Nix died on July 28th at Sinai Hospital in Detroit. The pastor of the St. James Missionary Baptist Church gained a national reputation for his rousing and spirited gospel recordings. Under his direction, the St. James Choir recorded 9 albums and was named Choir of the Year in 1982 and 1983 by the National Gospel Music Excellence Foundation. The funeral for Reverend Nix will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. at the Greater Grace Temple in Detroit.
To the Reverend Charles Nix. As News 4's Bob Bennett reports, the funeral for the gospel-singing preacher filled the place of worship with the sounds and music he loved best.
Officials expected an overflow crowd, and they were prepared. An estimated 5,000 people packed the Greater Grace Temple in northwest Detroit to say farewell to Reverend Charles Nix Jr., organist, singer, songwriter, and minister, dead at 47. Walk through this huge crowd and you'll see very few tears. The Reverend Charles Nix was a warm, outgoing, vibrant personality, a very happy person. In a way, this is a celebration of his life and what he meant to the church. Gospel music and Charles Nix Jr. were inseparable long before he became a minister. He was remembered in an up-tempo, spirited fashion, reminiscent of the kind of services he held at the St. James Missionary Baptist Church.
Everybody is happy, and it's more or less a celebration rather than a funeral ceremony.
He's the modern-day Moses, and we've lost a great giant.
An extraordinary human being. I was just inside the church. I can't imagine anything more moving or in its own way joyous. And it's an occasion to celebrate a man's life, an extraordinary human being.
People were drawn to Charles Nix Jr. through gospel music. He was so popular, he increased the membership at his church from 300 to more than 3,000 in 17 years.
He's music to our souls, and I'm just going to keep that music playing in my soul. What I love about it, he's planted many seeds, and there'll be much fruit of his labor right here on earth for years and years to come.
There was a time at the National Baptist Convention, 7 million people represented by some 50,000. Whoever was at the organ playing, when Charles Nix walked into the auditorium, they got up. Respected him just that much.
He leaves behind a wife, mother, and sister, and thousands of friends. Reverend Charles Nix Jr., dead at 47. Bob Bennett, News 4 Night Beat.
Steamy days and humid nights with daily temperatures near 100 degrees caused dozens of deaths in Metro Detroit, the medical examiner said today.